and then we'll get started. We'll do this with video and audio. Just, I know we're both in
Yeah,
our office. You're in your
not a
office?
problem.
Yeah.
I'm actually now at home.
Oh, you're at home. Okay, good, good. So, well, first of all, congratulations on that amazing accomplishment at Habanero.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So yeah, well, I want to get into that, but I just wanted to say that right off the bat. So have you ever done a 100 miler before?
This would be my third one at this point.
Oh, okay.
Um, the first one being Rocky Raccoon in 2021. And
Okay.
then I did a last man standing race and I hit 112 miles. So
Oh my God. Okay. See, I didn't know that about you. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I mean, regardless, but I just, yeah, I wasn't sure. Um, so how long have you been a runner?
a runner, maybe just over 4 years.
Oh
But
my
I've been
goodness.
swimming. I mean, I ran in high school, but I didn't continue it after that. But
Mhm.
swimming, I stayed with most of my life.
Yeah. And tell me about your job, because I don't want to make it sound like, because I know you're in charge of Cameron County
Beach patrol.
Beach Patrol. Okay. So yeah, because I don't want people just to say he's a lifeguard. Well, I mean, I realize that's probably part of it, but what does the job entail? Just because I don't know anything about this.
Okay, so I've been working beach patrol for 10 years, different agencies, but right now for the last 5 years, I've been in charge for Cameron County Beach Patrol. My official title is chief. I'm in charge of all ocean lifeguards, EMTs, dispatchers for that little agency. Mostly the employees are seasonal. Do have full timer now, but besides the obvious like ocean rescue, we also do any medical calls that happen on the beach. We generally take care of in our jurisdiction. We transport to EMS. Um, I'm in charge of training the entire staff, all the administrative work that goes along with it as well. So half paperwork, half being on the beach. I generally just manage the whole program. So
Wow. Wow. And you're from Brownsville originally, yes?
yeah, born and raised.
Born and raised. All right. And you went to UT Brownsville, right?
Yes, UT Brownsville.
What did you study?
Chemistry.
Huh?
Yeah, I'm not doing anything related to it at this point.
That's okay. I was a broadcast major, and then my master's is in documentary, and I'm not doing any of that. So yeah, I get it. I get it. But it's all good. It's all good discipline, I think. But so how many people work for you in the ocean? Is it like a department?
We're,
Again,
we're, we're yeah, we're nestled under the Parks Department. We're certified as an agency individually, but we are under Parks Department. So under that, Parks, and then under Cameron County Judge and Commissioner's Court. And I have anywhere from 30 to 45 employees a season. Just like every other sector, everybody's been struggling with employees the last 2 years, but I think I ended up with about 35 this year.
wow, that's great. That's great. And this is a year-round thing too. And we also probably should point out that for those who don't live in Texas or don't live in the Valley, that Cameron County is South Padre Island, right?
Yeah, we have our beaches that we take care of are all on South Padre Island, so
Yeah.
we have the best beach in Texas. That's for
Yeah,
sure.
I would agree with that. Now, don't get me going about Florida beaches though, because I lived in Florida for 15 years. I don't think South Padre can necessarily hold a candle to it.
Big
Well,
words.
I miss palm trees. I think that's the thing. It's like there's not that many shaded places unless you rent one of those umbrella things or something like
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah. No
Yeah.
trees on the island.
Right. Yeah. And so I just got very spoiled by that when I lived in Florida. But anyway, I digress. um, so so what is a typical day like for you on the job?
Well, it really depends on the time of year. Obviously, our jam
Sure.
is from spring break through basically Labor Day. We come in. Let's just say I've already gone past the hiring and training phase. We come in, we work out every single day, a mix of swimming, running, calisthenics, whatever we can do, ocean-related skills, things like that. Then we get on duty. There's different rankings of lifeguards. Some are in towers, some are driving units and responding to 911 calls. And it's just a system that we've operated like a kind of like a fire department is structured. That's how we were structured.
Yeah. Wow.
So,
And how many rescues this so far this year?
we actually have the official statistics back in my office,
That's
but
okay.
we generally specifically rescues where we actually had to go in and physically save somebody, it usually gets into the hundreds, low hundreds. As far as like, we focus on preventative work. We stop things before it happens. That's really our main focus. That's the advantage that we get there. So prevention number one, stop, and public education.
Yeah. So how do you prevent people from getting into trouble? I mean, are people sitting up in the towers or driving along and they notice stuff, or how does that work?
Yeah, well, in the training that they receive, they do know how to identify like troubled areas, rip currents, strong currents. We do have flag warning systems all over the places for our beaches. We do make contact with the public when we're advising them. We don't just kick them out of an area. We tell them like, this is why you shouldn't be here. Here's how to spot something in danger. Really engage with them, let them know what's going on instead of just because I said so. And that's worked the best for us.
And people cooperate and whatnot.
For the most part, you're always going to have the exception here and there.
Of course.
You can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
But then we have to go and get them anyway. So we try.
I told you so. Oh my goodness. Yeah. So you say this is kind of the slower time of year, I guess, because the weather's finally not as awful.
Yeah, when everyone's back in school, there is less of a population, but emergencies can happen anytime. I worked this past weekend, and there was about 4 rescues just on Sunday alone. So it can happen to anywhere and anytime. You can't watch the whole beach at once.
Yeah. So when you guys rescue someone, I guess it depends kind of what that's, entails or whatever, but are you swimming out to this person, or are you in a boat, or how does that work? I know I'm asking the dumbest questions, but I'm just fascinated by this.
No, I appreciate it. No, we, our primary modes of rescue are swimming, or we have rescue boards as well. They look like giant surfboards that we use, and just us versus nature, where you swim, you run, and you use your smarts and water knowledge to get to the person as quickly as you can. That's why we do exercise daily, and we do have physical standards to be able to work there as set by our certifying agency, which is the United States Life Saving Association. And every few years we recertify the whole agency. And, we have standards. It isn't just wildly running into the water. We do have approaches, we do have plans, we know how to read the water, and I've been a water baby for a long time, so yeah, we're particularly good at reading it, I think.
That's cool. So how did you end up in this job?
This agency opened up in 2013. Somebody referred it to me. I was actually in a transition. Like I said, I studied chemistry before. I was kind of really, really bored with what I was doing for a living at the time, and was put my 2 weeks notice, was going to go either back to school or just move somewhere else. This job came up. I thought, this would be a good temporary thing. I fell in love with this. It was my first real taste of public service and just the emergencies and thrills and all that. So it was really, I got hooked, and here I am now in charge of what other programs.
Pretty cool. No, I think that's great, and it's nice that you kind of found that calling. I mean, I know for myself, I backed into, the jobs that I've had, in, our careers. I've had 2, so it's, so it's kind of fun when that happens. It's like a happy accident, I guess. But, and I guess the other thing with your job is, because I used to deal with fire departments a lot. And so it's like, you're just kind of sitting around, things are kind of boring, but then all of a sudden it's like, boom, you've got to, be on the, beyond the spot or whatever. So does that sound familiar, or does that sound about
it can be familiar? Yeah, it'd be pretty familiar, but like I said, we have a fair amount of employees, and we do strategically place them. So prevention, that's the one advantage we do have over the fire department. Like, we're actively preventing where we work. I know they have to wait for 911 calls for a lot of situations. I know they do their share of preventative work, but for us, it's extremely proactive. We expect the lifeguards to be moving dozens of people a day each. So that's up.
Very, interesting. Wow. So with all this, yeah, I mean, it sounds like you found the ideal job for yourself, at least at this point in your life. And so how do you work in training? You said you've only been running really for about 4 years. How did that get started?
Well, I was going to a local gym, Hard Knocks, a while back when I was in Brownsville. Well, I am in Brownsville now, but I had moved to Corpus for a while and came back. And while I was there, and I really only swam, strength trained. We did some minor running on the beach, but I wouldn't put anything over like a mile and a half at most, like that kind of distance. But we were swimming a tremendous amount and paddling, and that was really my activity. when I was at that gym, one of my friends there was like, hey, I notice you look like you're pretty fit. Do you want to take this entry for my sister for the Brownsville half marathon? I'm like, I don't race, I don't really run. And it was like about 2 weeks away, I believe, at the time. And she said, no, you're gonna do it. And I'm like, oh, okay, sure. Like, why not? They transferred my name. They didn't even ask me for any information other than my birthday, and then I just went for it. I did okay. I think for my first half marathon, I believe I got like a 128 or 129.
Oh, that's good. No, that's very good. That's
and
yeah.
just completely clueless. No GPS. No
Well,
big
that
heavy cotton shirt. I think I ate too much before, and I didn't really drink any water. You know, all the rookie mistakes all at once.
well, that's okay. That's how you learn. It's all experience. Yeah. I like that race. I've done that one, I think, a couple of times. And I think the humidity, although you're so used to that, but yeah, the humidity. Oof. Anytime I did a race in Brownsville.
Yeah, I think that's part of our strength down here, that we don't realize until we go somewhere that's dry.
That's what I was saying. I bet yeah, and that probably we'll get to Habanero, but yeah, that's really cool. So what was your so you did this half marathon. So then where did it go? Was it just like your gateway drug? Then you're like, ooh, I think
Yeah, pretty much. I met a lot of very friendly people. It's a community that really made it inviting. When I started training for those, like some of the people that were going to the gym, including our friend, you might know her, Maria Leva. Invited us like, oh, we're gonna have like a get together for this run group that's here, which is the M2M run group in Brownsville. Everybody was extremely inviting. I mean, I had never done a race before, and didn't matter to anybody there. They wanted to just encourage the running community, meet people, and everybody was extremely friendly. Invited me right into their home. I was like, these are great people. I did the race, and everyone was like really happy for me.
mm-hmm.
A real sense of community that I hadn't had because I've been moving around for these jobs, doing ocean rescue, and I said, well, I guess what's next? Me not knowing anything, I guess I'll sign up for a marathon next, and that's really just one stone to the other.
So what was your first marathon?
Harlingen Marathon was my first marathon. Yeah, I kept it local. Still not venturing out very much.
Okay.
For a second race, right?
What was your time?
So, 3 hours and 50 something seconds. I don't officially.
Man, that's good.
I got it off course for a while, so I think I would have broken 3 if whatever. But
hey. No, that's pretty good for your first. So how did you train for this? I mean, since you kind of did the first half marathon without any structured training, it sounds like, except for just your overall fitness and abilities. So I mean, did you get a training plan, or how did that go?
I got a whole some friends recommended a training plan, asked me for some times. They did all the math for me. I didn't know how to figure all those paces out or anything. I was just going to kind of wing it again, which is probably would have been looking back wouldn't have been the best idea. But that was my only plan at the time, and so I did it. I executed it. I'd made all the same mistakes on the first marathon, going out too fast, probably not drinking enough, everything that could have done wrong, I probably did. Yeah, but that's what I got. They gave me a structured plan, and that's probably what saved me.
Yeah. And so from there, where did this lead you to then?
Well, since, like I said, I hadn't been running very long, I did another, I did rock and roll. I stopped running basically every summer once work picked up those first couple of years. So I didn't.
That's probably smart.
I probably ran for.
It's hard to run in that summer heat.
Yeah, 4 or 5 months a year. I would break for the summer and just focus on swimming and my job and everything like that. And then at the end of summer, which is about September, I would start figure out what I was going to do, which included the Brownsville half again. I signed up for Rock and Roll San Antonio.
Oh.
And that was my second marathon. Yeah, I went in with like 2 months of training. I think it was okay. It was fun.
A little hilly, yeah.
A little hilly for.
Yeah. I still haven't.
I had never run a real hill until then, I guess.
I have not adjusted. I mean, I've lived here for 5 years, and I'm still not really completely adjusted to just the elevation and the hills and stuff. I mean, I still struggle on that stuff. So, I mean, I really love being a flatlander because I lived in Florida, and then, the Valley for 13 years.
Okay. Yeah.
That's why I like running in Houston. It's like, okay, that's better.
Yeah, it definitely throws you for a loop, and it threw me for a loop then too. So I think I got like a 302 or something at that time, which
very good. Yeah.
Okay. And I think right after that, one of my friends who had been running locally, he lived in Austin at the time, but he would come down for Brownsville Half, but he was doing races over there. He's like recommended Bandera.
Mm.
And originally I
Ooh,
was like, I was like, okay. And another friend jumped in on the same thing. We all did the 25K, and I was like, this is amazing. This is way better than running on the road. You know, like the people, the scenery was like right down my alley. Because at this point, I do like to camp and hike. So at this point, I already knew about like walking trails and stuff like that, but I never thought about running while I was there.
so the rocks didn't bother you or anything?
I mean, of course, the elevation rocks, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed
Right.
the uniqueness and the challenge of it. Um, so from there, I was like, I need to try this trail thing more. And I believe that was, geez, what was that? 2020 when I finally did Bandera.
Great.
Right before everything happened. So I really didn't. That's when doors started closing. Everything started getting
Was
canceled
that the
around.
year that it was that the year that it like snowed and sleeted and all that kind of stuff?
No, thankfully not.
I just remember volunteering. I don't know, maybe it's 2019. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because the
Yeah,
weather could be anything.
I had heard horror stories, but we lucked out. I mean, it was cold for Valley person, but it was good.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's Bandera, but yeah, no, I mean, yeah, that's pretty funny. Yeah, I think I did. Well, I did a 50K there. Well, I've done two 50Ks there, but I did one when it was like 32 degrees and there was like icicles on the cacti.
Oh, wow.
So much mud, just so much mud. We just, I learned that there's a lot of different kinds of mud out there. Oh my God. Yeah, that was, yeah, you don't want, yeah, you really, well, I mean, maybe you'd like that challenge. I don't know.
I think now I would. I think at the time it would have killed me.
Yeah. Well, yeah, or discouraged you maybe. Well, I'm glad you did a Tejas race because I don't know, in my opinion, they're the best, but
Put on great races. They do.
they're wonderful. But so you got went to the dark side with the trails stuff. Did you pretty much stay there, or did you kind of alternate between road running and trails?
So, like I said, it was right at the beginning of 2020. So I think I did one more half marathon, and then everything started shutting. One more marathon, a Harlingen marathon again, and then everything started shutting down after that. So I really didn't have many options for a while. I think what really got me started into ultra running was where there's nothing else to do. I guess I might as well run some more. And I started looking at plans and research, reading some books. And like, why not? I'll just sign up for a virtual because everybody was doing it at the time, right? It was very in. I was like, I'll put a real, if I'm going to do a virtual, because there was 50K option, I'm like, I'm going to do 50 miles. Why not? Like, might as well just jump up. And then when I was doing in the process of training for the 50-mile virtual, which I ended up doing in July, the heat, I said I might as well just make it 52.4 and do the double marathon just to say I did it. Yeah. So I traded along, starting like, how do I self-support? Well, I get the vest that I need to get, look into the nutrition because I'm starting to struggle in these longer distances in the heat. And eventually I just went and ran it in Brownsville, and it was like, I think a day before a hurricane was coming close. So I knocked it out right in time for my timeline.
So how did that one go then? That double marathon?
It was not bad. It was just hot, humid. It was summer again, like probably the worst decision I've made at the time.
But you didn't die.
But I didn't die. That's what mattered. And then I got to eat a lot afterwards. That's really the reward, right?
Yeah, I know. I think, a lot of us are like that. We're like, yeah, I can eat like a pig afterwards. So good. So when things started opening back up, then you started doing these 100-milers. Is that how that kind of went?
It kind of like things were still kind of sketchy going into that 2020 summer. Since all the road races were getting canceled, I noticed the trail races were adapting. They were doing, timed entries where you have the entry start windows. Yeah, there we go. Start windows. So they had options. I'm like, well, this looks like it's going to go on. They have contingencies and options. So I found Tinajas 100K in December. And I like Colorado Bend State Park. I had camped there, and beautiful place. It's probably my favorite state park in Texas. love it. Can't get enough. So I'm like, well, I might as well do it somewhere I really enjoy. Signed up for the 100K, started a 100K plan from above.
Self-supported too, right?
Yeah, they had no ice or water either. There was 100% self-supported. 250K loops, so you didn't get small loops to like leave things behind. You had to really put things down at your crossings. In the midst of, because I guess I jumped the gun. In the midst of the 100K, I think I know I signed up for 100 miles probably a month after starting the training for the 100K. I'm like, well, and that was Rocky Raccoon, which was exactly 2 months after Tanaha's 100 miles. I couldn't tell you why I went ahead and just signed up for both of them.
Why not?
Without even having done either distance. And then right before Tanaha's, maybe a few weeks before, I did a 50K there at 7IL. I always confuse it. Pronounce 7IL ranch?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. Yeah, the sand, the place of sand. Yeah.
Yeah. I signed up for a 50K, which was they call it the Jalapeno 100. It was a substitute for Habanero because it was later in the season, something like that.
I did the 30K there. Yes.
Yeah, well, I did the Jalapeno and I did the 50K just to get some practice. I hadn't race practice since the Harlingen Marathon before that. So I was like, I need some practice on a trail. Mm-hmm. And that's really my first ultra race, I think, then Jalapeno, followed by 100K at Tinajas, which was devastatingly hard. I didn't expect the technicality on some of the race on the race, and I don't know if I go back and run it, I would feel the same, that it's as difficult. But at the time, it was like, I think I fell down like 15 times, broke my ankle half a dozen times. It's the usual.
I call it Satan's driveway. Yeah. So
it's still gorgeous. It's still gorgeous. I remember.
It's beautiful, but yeah, I don't know how people can actually run on it. Unless you're, I mean, maybe you can probably run on it, but I'm like an old lady out there just kind of picking my way through it.
There was definitely some sections where that was the correct approach, and I should have done that too.
You didn't die. No.
Yeah, again, I didn't die. The interesting thing about the format of the 100K and the 100 mile at Rocky Raccoon was, since it was the start windows, I don't know you don't know who you're racing against or with, or so you don't find out your placement till the next day. I woke up for the 100K. I'm like, I got first place. I won that one.
Hey,
okay, good, great. Got a best out of it, right? And then Rocky Raccoon, I think, was more easy to determine who was finishing first because they did kind of have a small group start, but I still started on the start window a little bit later. But it was they were very interesting. Tinajas is still, I think, the hardest race I've done at this point, like as far as technicality and just like how the self-supporting and soul-shattering course.
I like that soul-shattering. That's accurate, yeah. But
yeah.
Although it's better than when if you do it in the summertime, the Captain Carl's, because then you have the heat, and to deal with, as opposed to being, December.
Yeah, no, the weather was perfect for that race. It was just the course itself.
How did you think? What did you think about Rocky?
Rocky Raccoon was great, I think, except for those roots sneaking up on you every once in a while. Just like it's.
I think they get taller each loop. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was promised, and that's what I got. So I didn't know what to expect going into it. I had kind of a loose time goal range. I went well under it, thankfully. Beautiful place. That Huntsville State Park's fantastic. Yeah, but as soon as the lights went out and the roots just came back up on you, and that was I think that was the biggest challenge there. Again, I don't think I ate enough for that one because I imagine what a diabetic probably feels like when your sugar just drops and your whole mood just went down. And that was, when I did it, it was 20-mile loops.
Yeah. Did you have a pacer?
No, I've yet to use a pacer at this point.
Wow.
Monday, I'm sure I will, but so far it's just been me. But I had a crew. Yeah. I had a good crew for Rocky Raccoon who were waiting for me at the every 20-mile loop. I had my vest, and they knew exactly what I needed.
Got me back great.
And sent me out. Yeah, they were like a pit stop.
They wouldn't let you sit for any length of time or anything.
Oh no, I told them, get me out of there as quick as you can. I think the more you stop, the more it hurts.
Yeah, and the easier it is to quit too. So did you finish first in that one too, or how'd that go?
No. I got I think I had 7th place on that one.
Pretty good.
My time was 16:36.
Oh wow, sub 24, big time. Yeah.
So I was happy with that. The sub
So
24 at
you got
least.
the special sub 24 buckle then. Oh
Yes,
my
yes,
God, that's so cool.
I have it up.
Yeah, no, that's exciting. So after that, then was it Habanero, or did you have something else in between? Or
So at that point I didn't really have anything planned because again I was in February I believe,
yes,
or February, and then March starts back up, and honestly I was too busy trying to recover. My body was trying to recover for probably a whole month after that before I can really think about like what I wanted to race next. I didn't have
yeah.
anything in mind. I did jump on Spider Mountain,
Ooh, how was
like
that?
a 6 hour course in May, just
Yeah,
for fun, like last minute. That was cool. It was very different.
yeah.
Um, I think I did. I won the time I was doing the 6 hours, and I
Mhm.
think I got 32 miles out of it. But
Wow.
very steep, very cool, very different. That little ride that you get up on the mountain for that one break was like the best, like heaven on earth
I was
for
going to
that one.
ask you how many times you took the lift. Yeah, yeah. For
Yeah,
those
no,
who, yeah, for those who are listening and don't know what Spider Mountain is, it's what there's like a ski lift that you can take. I forget. I don't even know what I've never gone to that race, but
so depending on what distance you do, you can either get 1 or 2 passes to get on the ski lift because it is a mountain biking mountain. So they have the ski lift designed to take up the bikes and the people, and then you go down. So they have a race there every year at the house trails, and the distance I did, I got, or the time I did, I got 1 pass. So I took it the latest I possibly could before they shut it down.
yeah. Well, that one's at night too, isn't it?
Yeah, it's at night.
Yeah,
So
so that probably helps a little bit, I guess. But so yeah, that I think that yeah, this year or this coming year, I want to try to at least volunteer at that one. And I don't think I can handle that that steepness. But anyway, so you did Spider Mountain, and then what happened?
work got busy.
Yeah, of course.
I besides running, because I've never really, I said I only started been running for the last 4 years. I've been competing with the ocean lifeguard team. We have a competitive team that competes on the state level and national level every year. So I would train for that all summer long. But I started incorporating more running in the mornings before work and before that, because I was like, well, let me keep up this general fitness until I can figure out what I want to do next. Um, so I think that year we went to Virginia Beach to compete on a national level. And for people that don't know, it's the USLA Lifeguard Championships. It's a track and field style competition. Various events in the beach, ocean, rescue theme most of the time, sometimes just purely athletic. And it goes on for several days. And same thing where we have heats and semifinals and finals, and then you move on to the championship or whatnot. I think that year I took gold in the beach run. So
Nice.
yeah, you're competing against these monster athletes, like Division I athletes. Some ex-Olympians are there. Like the ocean rescue world is very talented. There are a lot of talented athletes out there that we
Well,
can
it sounds like
against.
you're one of them. So
Trying.
that's exciting. No, that's great. Congratulations. Wow. Um, and so then,
Yeah, from let's see, from then, what was next? Where are we on the timeline? Um, what did I do? I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure it out from
no, it's
here.
okay. Well,
So
I didn't really give you any ideas of what I
that
was
was
going to talk to you about.
that was last year.
Okay.
Some South Padre. Okay. So after that, what did I do next? My next was Chicago Marathon.
Oh, wow.
That's what I signed up for last year. I actually signed up for that at the beginning of the year to knock out another marathon because it had been a long time since road marathons were really being held, and that was one of the first major ones that was coming back. I ended up getting injured from a bicycle accident
Oh,
in the middle of training. Well, at the beginning of training, actually. So I said, okay, well, I can still run, but I can't run very fast right now. So I didn't jump out of Chicago Marathon. I stayed on, but I signed up for that last man standing race, Texas BMF under Trot. It's like
mhm.
trail racing over Texas, right? So I'm like, I'll sign up for that. That'll be my end goal, so I can jump onto an ultra plan. And then Chicago will just be a training run.
Mhm.
So uh, I continued my training under an ultra plan instead of my marathon plan. And then when Chicago came, I did like a brief taper, not a real one. I kind of just rested on it for a couple of days. I went there. I PR'd. I got 2:54:18 for Chicago 2021. It was kind of way hotter than I expected. I expected northern weather to be cold, but Chicago didn't deliver. But the course itself, the people, was amazing. That was exciting. I would definitely want to do Chicago again. So with that, I had 1 month before Texas BMF, I believe, maybe a little more than a month. And I showed up not really knowing how far I would go, but I'm like, I'm just going to give it a try. Had some big goals. I reached about the 27th or 28th hour before I called it quits. I made it to the top 5. Yeah. I attached the fundraiser to it for a local animal rescue. I don't know if you know Robert, for Paws and Strides.
I don't think so.
No, he's a nonprofit animal rescue that he works there. So I had a pledge drive attached to it. So whatever mileage I did would at least benefit somebody, right?
Sure.
So I made it to 112 miles. That's as far as I've run so far, even up to this point. And that, if you're familiar with that format, it's about 4.16 miles every hour on the hour, and until you can't go further anymore. I think I could have gone a lot farther, but I had an Achilles start to flare up pretty badly, and I didn't want to risk any kind of major injuries, so I just called it at that point. But I am going to jump on another one sooner or later. I'm looking at one in Austin in next year, but we'll see. Depending on.
Is that one of the Spectrum races?
Yeah, the game.
Mallory. Yeah.
I haven't seen. I think they call it the game.
Yes, the game.
I haven't seen the dates for the 2023 posted, so I'm keeping an eye out just in case.
Yeah, Mallory has some good races too. So yeah,
I've seen a lot of posts about it. I need to check it out myself.
Yeah.
So slowly, like I said, I haven't been doing this too long, so I'm still getting out and around to these races.
Well, that's cool though. So, so you were in you said the top 5 of that one, or
yeah, I got 5th place for that. I got 5th place for that one. I forgot how many started it, but I think the winner went on for another like 5 loops.
How do you mentally do that? Because I mean, it's different. I mean, I guess, there's obviously, anyone who listens to this, is likely a runner, and, there's just those out and back, or there's loops, but those little short loops, wow, that's mentally, it just seems like that would be really challenging. How do you get through that?
It was, but because of the format of the race, what I hadn't experienced before at the other races was the social aspect of it that had been really missing out because of COVID.
Yeah.
We all started at the same time. Everybody became friends by the end of it. We're all just, making jokes, all the sarcasm that trail runners are known for. I loved it. Like, made some good long-term friends there at this point now. So that was probably the best thing to come out of that race for me.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that definitely helped with the mental aspect of it when you have other people suffering just as much as you and right next to you. That's a big one.
Yeah, no, I can feel that. Yeah. So yeah, because I'm signed up for Snowdrop this year, that thing where you go, it's outside of Houston. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I tried it once. I got to about 100K and I just couldn't do it. But I think I got my mind right this time, so we'll see. So I'll be channeling some art, along the way.
Just make some good jokes and you'll be good.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, well, I think there's a bunch of people from the Valley coming up for that one, so I'm kind of excited about that. Seeing a bunch of friends. So anyway, so after the last man standing.
After Last Man Standing, I signed up for a bucket list race, which was the Big Bend Ultra. I signed up for the 50-mile race. It's held in the Big Bend Ranch State Park. By far the most gorgeous race I've done at this point. I love Big Bend, West Texas area, like most Texans that hang out outdoors do. And that race was gorgeous. Like, conditions were perfect. The sights were amazing. Like, I couldn't get enough of it. I had set a goal to break that course record by the numbers and overestimating myself, but I did end up breaking it by about 33 or 34 minutes.
Ooh, good for you.
And I still came in 2nd place because I fell down and somebody beat me by less than a minute. So
that's like a nightmare.
I hit my goal. I'm happy about that. And just gotta fall less, I guess. You learn.
Man, oh man, that just sounds like a movie or something.
It was literally like maybe a mile, just over a mile before the finish line when I did fall down too. It was
So what'd you
right
do? Like
there.
trip on something or what?
Yeah, I towed a rock and just fell over, and that's what sent me. My legs started cramping because of that, so it got me down for a little while before I can continue.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
wasted a good like 5-6 minutes before I can really move again.
yeah. Oh, so how do you fuel for your races? Because I think you are a vegetarian or vegan. Is that true?
Vegetarian.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, I know, some people, some people, are like, oh my God, how can you do that? But it sounds like obviously you do pretty well. So is there, a magic bullet food or something that you rely on during these longer races that seems to
I
help?
I personally don't have any kind of magic bullet foods. I've learned that I'm a human garbage disposal when it comes to these races. I can eat just about anything they put out there. I have my preferred gels and hydration supplements like Scratch and whatnot.
Yeah, like
But as
scratch,
far
yeah.
as like actual nutrition during the race, I do bring some with me, usually so I can round back when I get back to my equipment. But I've learned to trust the aid stations more and just eat whatever I kind of want to at the time.
Okay.
It's done me well so far. I have yet to get sick during a race. I know it's going to happen to me one day because it's going to happen to all of us. But as far as right now, it's just like keeping keeping the sugar up. Like I said, I made the mistake before where I didn't eat enough, where I was trying to just be right on the line to not overeat or to not feel heavy or whatever horror story I heard about.
Oh, yeah.
But so far, I mean, I just like eat eat reasonably. During the races, and the vegetarianism makes it pretty easy because most of these places aren't serving meat to you
Yeah. Ugh.
while
Yeah.
you're running anyway. So, and since as a vegetarian, I'm already carb loading as pretty much 24 hours a day.
That's so cool though. No, I mean, and I think that I like to bring that up just because I know that just to encourage other people that may, be considering, the vegetarian option, that yes, you can still be competitive and do quite well, so
Like I said, it hasn't. I wouldn't know it from the other side at this point because I started running after I became a vegetarian, but it seems to be just fine for me.
Cool. So so anything before Habanero or
So from Habanero, what did I do? Oh, I did after Big Ben. I did Boston Marathon with my Chicago time.
just that.
I got with Chicago time. Boston qualified me. I submitted and I got accepted for that this past April of 2022.
That's awesome.
Finally glad to have it done because I had qualified early on and COVID happened and the time started getting ridiculous when they started narrowing it down. So I'm like, I'm just gonna kind of wait till the next opportunity to do it. And Chicago was my opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
And I took advantage. I submitted, got accepted, got a red bib like everybody wants to get, I guess.
Ooh, is that like a front runner or something like that, or the good?
The first corrals are the red bibs.
Corral. That's it. I knew it.
Yeah, the first corrals you get the red bibs, so generally the ones
is that it in the background there?
Yeah, actually. San Antonio right above that.
That's exciting.
Yeah, so I had a ton of community support for that. It was a very popular event. People really came out of the woodwork. I had a couple of fundraisers just to cover the cost of the travel, the board, getting there. Tons of local businesses that I frequent donated things to be raffled, and I did that. And community really, I got a lot of messages. A lot of people follow me through. That was very sweet of the Valley and my friends and family from the area to support, and follow and track me. And they were extremely proud for me. I actually got honored at the Cameron County. They made a proclamation for me running Boston as well.
That's so cool.
Yeah, they gave me a big plaque and had to dress up and all that. So
that's nice. Oh my
God. That's what that was the last thing I really did before Habanero.
Okay. And how did you do at Boston, by the way? Just
I PR'd there by a few seconds, but I still PR'd 2:54:12.
And that's got some hills to it, from what I understand.
Yeah, and at this point, I really consider myself more of an ultra runner than a marathoner. So I think my 2 years, 12 weeks of marathon training, and really, I think I did okay.
I would say so.
We'll
Yeah.
do a few more. I'll do a few more marathons that I want to do. I will, like everybody else wants to do the majors at some point in their life bucket list. So slowly work on that as well.
Yeah. I was say I saw a bunch of people from the Valley just did Berlin. So that was kind of interesting, looking.
Berlin was last week, and I think a few
Yeah.
more did London a couple of days ago.
Oh, really? Okay. I haven't seen anybody do that one. But so what else is on your bucket list as far as marathons? Then New York or no?
Yeah, I have a time for guaranteed entry for New York 2023. So I'm going to take advantage of that too, and I'll submit for that when that comes around. I am going to do a marathon for fun in about 3 weeks. Marathon to Marathon in Marathon, Texas. Tiny little town, maybe like 250 people over by Big Bend, that area. So I've been wanting to do it forever. And I wasn't sure how I was going to come out of Habanero, like injured or burnt out or something. But I just said, why not? And I signed up, and I'll be doing that in 3 weeks, but just kind of like a half train.
Just for fun, a fun run.
yeah, that'd be good. So that's the next marathon road race I have coming up.
So, okay, well, let's talk about the big event here, Habanero. What in the world made you decide to this? I'm sorry, but this is the dumbest race ever. Okay.
I agree.
But a lot of people sign up for it and they want to, okay. So for the uninitiated, this thing is in July or August. When is that?
It is in August.
Okay.
It
so it starts at noon.
It starts at noon.
And it's on this ranch, and I can't remember how big the loops are for that one.
So it was 10K loops that we were doing.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And you have to go through this. And when I say sand, I'm not talking about like your pretty beach sand that's all packed down. It's like, you probably got some pretty good experience with that, because I just remember I was like dumping sand out of my shoes weeks later after I did that, other one.
Yeah.
There. So what made you decide to do this one? Just because it is so crazy, or what?
Yeah, I think I wanted to do something I thought I maybe wouldn't finish at this point. And I was like, I want to keep my fitness through the summer. Here's my perfect excuse to do it, even though it's probably the most extreme one I can do without traveling too particularly far, because work, sometimes there are emergencies I might have to travel back if something major would happen, right? Sure. But I kind of signed up. They had a sale during the winter when you're cold and not thinking about the heat at all. And I signed up. So that's what I did.
Oh my God. And so you get how many hours to do 100 miles?
It was just under 19 hours. I think it was like 1857.
No. But I mean, contestants get 30 hours or 30?
Oh yeah, 30 hours before they kick you off the course. So
yeah. And what had been the course record prior to this year?
It was 20:45, I believe. 20 hours, 45 minutes at that point.
Okay. Yeah. And you finished in what?
Just under 19 hours.
Amazing. Yeah. So did you go into it going, yeah, I'm going to win this one? Or was it just sort of like, well, let's just see what happens?
It's kind of, at first it was just to see what happens. And then I started, like I always do to myself, I keep trying to raise the bar, maybe unrealistically. And that's what I started doing. I started looking at numbers, started looking at my performance over the summer. And remember, I worked outside a lot in the heat and the beach and the extreme weather and direct sun. So I'm like, well, maybe that'll help. The sand won't be so much of a problem since I'm in it all day long.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I set high goals. I took an approach of just doing by heart rate for this race instead of by trying to aim for a pace, because I knew the course was going to vary too much because of running jalapeno, since it was the same course. So I already knew what to expect, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to keep some kind of extremely consistent pace. So I just ran by heart rate and by my feeling. Just walked where I had to and started finding the path of least resistance. I know how to read the sand from work, so I know what parts are easier to run on than
probably the only person that can do that. Yes.
So like I said, we work outdoors at work every single day, so it's not like the sand thing is new to me.
You just don't go for the deep part. Yeah.
yeah. You know where it's packed, you know where it's good for what's good footing. So all that came together, I think, in a really good way. I was extremely consistent going by that approach. Once I did the loop a few times, I knew which parts were coming, where to slow down, where I could walk, where to pick it up. And I just kept that same pattern almost the entire time. I think the only variable in my time for the loops was when I would switch out maybe shorts or socks or something like that. Other than that, I think I was hitting almost the exact same times, like within a couple of minutes for most of my loops when I look back at the information online.
Yeah.
So it paid off. Just kept it consistent. Like I said, I didn't particularly have an exact time goal, but I got a sense of where I was going to be as I approached the race, and I was getting adapted to the heat from work.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. So, and I know people always ask this question, so I'll ask it, even though I think I know the answer. Did you sleep at all?
No,
Yeah,
not at all.
Heck,
No time.
yeah, you're like, no, not when I was. When did you realize that you were probably going to break the course record? Was it earlier or was it later in the race? Or
I never thought I would break it until maybe the last 2 or 3 loops, because it would be because it's too long. I think these races are too long. It's too many variables to say like, oh yeah, I probably have this in the bag. You're never really safe. Even on the last loop, if I had said that, who knows? You
could have fallen. Yeah.
Something. Who knows? Like it's trail racing. That's how it is.
Right.
So maybe by the last loop, I was pretty confident about it, but I still not for sure. I would hate to
That's
be.
good though. I mean, that's probably a good way to think about it. Yeah, instead of being cocky.
Well, I just kept with the plan until it was over, and that's what happened.
Yeah. Wow. And so, what did you do when it was over? How did you recover that night, or did you did you eat everything in sight, or
I think I was too bloated from eating so like after the race, all the salt and whatnot. So like they have a showers there, so I definitely took advantage of that. Yeah. I had another friend racing the 100-miler. She actually won the first place for female. I had been helping her out with her training throughout. Amanda.
Oh yeah.
So we stuck around for her as well. So we there celebrated, cheered people, felt like I got to be participants and just appreciate everybody there.
Yeah, that's
cool.
So
yeah. Too tired to drink, too tired to eat too much. Kind of just relaxed and went to sleep.
Well, that sounds pretty good. So, how long did it take you to recover from that?
I think I'm still recovering from it.
Are you still recovering? Yeah.
I've started feeling normal maybe about 2 weeks after it. As far as like actual running and training and everything, like, because I'm a big data nerd, so like run with a heart rate strap, like to see all the data and see how I'm doing versus my perception and all that. My heart rate was still kind of high for maybe a whole month after that race for what I'm used to at the paces I was doing. Yeah. But at this point, I think I'm fully recovered and I'm just working my way through the next goals.
Okay, cool. And so what is next for you?
So I have several races I want to do in the next year. I'm just waiting on some life decisions to be made right now, because I'm in charge of Cameron County, but I also applied for another agency. So depending on what to turn out with that, that's the only thing keeping me from signing up for a few races I want to do next year.
Is that still in Texas, or is that someplace else?
It will still be in Texas. It's still going to be
still beach related.
No, actually this time. So
all right, I won't ask anymore, but
yeah, I don't want till it happens or not.
Yeah, no, I hear you. So that's exciting. Well, I hope whatever works best for you is what happens. So, but if you have to, but if things, say things, well, either way, what do you think you want to do?
Well, I'll find a time to do. It's like everything else. I just wake up earlier, right, to get everything done. It's been basically my approach to training. Just wake up as early as you have to get everything done in time.
What time is that?
Depends on the mileage. I've waken up at midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. They'd go and knock out all these things before having to go to work, and then just do that job as well.
That's dedicated.
As far as some races for next year, I'm picking a few in Texas and out of Texas. There's one called Love It 100 in Arkansas. It's supposed to be particularly gorgeous, difficult as well. That's high up on my bucket list. Javelina 100, I hear, is kind of fun too. Mm-hmm. As far as Texas races, Border of the Badlands, I might jump on for, it's a 50-mile race. I can't remember, it's in April or February, but I might just do that for a training run as well. Last man standing, if it happens, I'll probably jump in on the game. Mm-hmm. there in Spectrum Trail Racing. And as far as long-term goals, I do want to do Moab 240. That's high up on my list to do. So now that I think I'll be ready for that in a couple of years, probably, maybe sooner. I feel good, but I need to cut my chops. Like I said, as well as everyone says I'm performing, I still need the experience. Like I need more things to go wrong, ironically, so I can
I
learn.
hear you. Yeah.
I need to learn to adapt, because if everything just goes as well as I plan, I'm never going to get any better when things get worse.
Right. No, that's very smart. That's very smart. And you're just 37, right? Is that correct?
37.
Yeah. So yeah, you're just a kid. So yeah, well, but so well, that's good. So what about other outside of all of this? Do you have other hobbies or anything else that you do, or is this pretty much all consuming?
Well, like I said, I'm a water baby, so I like a lot of the water sports out here: surfing, swimming. I have a swim club, a free swim club for open water, the only one in I think most of Texas, that I host basically from May until around this time when it starts getting bad out in the water. That's been my community project for several years now. I think I've been doing that for maybe 5 years, 6 years. And if you don't know about it, it's called South Texas Surf Swimming. Completely open invite to all levels of swimmers. What I do is I set out a course in the water, a semi-permanent course, and a lot of people just come out. I'll watch them, I'll take care of them, I'll advise them on the conditions and the advice they have. A lot of triathletes tend to take advantage of it, and then just community swimmers like to go out there and swim in the swim club. So that's one of my projects I do basically weekly, depending on conditions. Other hobbies, I'm a big movie nerd. I like movies. Yeah, and I like to read a lot. So I haven't been reading as much lately, but I definitely pick books here and there.
Yeah.
And then just anything physical. I just came back from a 2-week camping hiking trip. I took advantage. I was camping, running wherever I was. Texas, yeah. So I don't know. Just
you like animals too, right?
Absolutely.
Do you have pets?
I just have some stray cats I take care of, neuter, fix, and neighbor cats like that. Those kind of.
Me. Yes.
Yeah. You need to, because nobody's taking care of them. So.
Yeah, no, it's fun. Yeah. Do you name them?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, okay, good. Yeah. Do you socialize them? Get them?
Yeah, they're friendly. They're absolutely people cats now.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've got about 6 of them now. They're kind of 6 months old, and I can like pick them up and hold them, and I really want to adopt some, but I won't, because I already have 2. I already have 2 in my house, and it would work. But anyways, any other fun things that you like to do? Well, it sounds like you're sort of a Renaissance man then, because you like to read and watch movies and stuff like that. So
I think I've definitely given up a lot of the social aspect for the running, but that's okay at this age. I think I do make it out to something here and there, but not too much.
Here's the thing. Well, and again, I'm older than you, obviously, but I think the trail running community is my social life. And like, that's the only way you'll get me to stay up all night now at this point in my life, because let me volunteer at a trail race or be in one, and I can do that. That's fun, so.
Yeah.
But so don't feel too weird about that,
Like you said, I guess it can be all consuming sometimes. Like you're waking up at 1 in to go run for several hours before, because my job is emergency services, so I tend to work on the weekends. That's when most people are socializing my age. So right. I don't think I'm missing out too much. I think COVID made it easier to have an excuse, and as COVID's kind of like leaned out, or socialization has come back more. Now I don't have the same excuse other than I had to run. I don't think anybody really gives me anything bad about it anymore.
No,
they just know I'm probably out there.
Yeah, no, I feel that a lot. Yeah, I mean, in some ways, COVID, really wasn't, because I'm kind of an introvert anyway, and so we're like, well, it's not that bad. But anyway, so well, Art, thank you so much. It was so wonderful to talk to you. I mean, I feel like I've known you for a while, but I don't know that we've actually ever met in person, but I just know you through the community and everything. But hang loose for just one quick second. I'm going to stop